Hey, great to have you back. Make sure to stick around if you want to know how to make everyone melt with your next saxophone solo. And I think it's not what you're thinking right now. Hi, great to have you back for a new video. Today, I have 5 techniques that you absolutely need to master if you want your next solo to really make your listeners melt. I've written them down here, and we're going to go through them one by one now. The first technique is try to shape your attacks to match the character of the music. In the beginning, we often learn an attack that goes like this. Yeah, it's relatively hard. And that's actually a good thing at first, that you get a sound out, but music isn't always like that. Music can also be like this, or like H or F, like this or like that. Yeah, you notice there are a lot of different attacks you should master. So pay attention to how you articulate when you play into your saxophone. Yeah. And then you can use language as a tool, as an analogy, and look for different consonants that you might be able to use. The easiest way to get a softer attack is maybe to start by articulating without your tongue, and then gradually add more tongue, doing the whole thing softly. Try it out. The second technique that truly makes everyone melt, and which we saxophonists, or really all of us who play wind instruments, have gracefully borrowed from talented singers, is vibrato, making the note gently vibrate. Break time equals 0.5s/. Vibrato can probably be shaped in as many different ways as there are musicians who use it. In any case, for us saxophonists, we can control the vibrato up here with the mouth or with the diaphragm. The easier way is with lip pressure. And the first exercise I recommend for this is basically to change the note rhythmically. And here I would also recommend using a D2 or an E2, something in the second register. So D with the octave key, E, F with the octave key, because those notes have a bit more resistance for me and are actually pretty well suited for getting started with vibrato. Yeah, and then you can clearly see how you can effectively play with the amplitude, making it significantly bigger or making it considerably smaller, and of course also the speed, ranging from incredibly slow all the way to really, really fast. And of course, it's important that you adapt this to the character of your piece. So, a well-measured vibrato, while an epic, dramatic, or combative piece can have a really high level of intensity. Number 3 is to also take care of the notes at the end. Yeah. If you take careful note at the very beginning and gently bring it in softly, perhaps allowing it to subtly vibrate for a moment, and then simply cut it off cleanly, that can be totally and completely fine for certain specific musical styles and genres. If you're more in a lyrical area, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing jazz, classical, world music, folk music, or whatever pop, if it's more of a sustained lyrical melody, then it always makes sense to shape it all the way to the end. Yeah, because just like it starts, it resonates in and then resonates out again. And how often do I hear this cutting off? Yeah. I used to do that myself, and I was never aware of it. The important thing is, first of all, that you notice it, yeah, and that you pay attention to it. Take care of your endings. One of the most important tips for making people melt, no matter what instrument or musical medium you're using, is probably dynamics, yeah. Differences. Music lives from differences. Fast, slow, loud, quiet, aggressive, soft, accented, unaccented. And dynamics give us a really, really wide range here, yeah. We can, of course, also add gradations in between, yeah. We can get quieter, get louder, we can do so many things with dynamics. And I ask you, or rather, I beg you, try this out, especially if you want to make someone melt with your solo, yeah. Try out different levels of dynamics, try building things up. What's important is, where is the music going? Direction, the key word is direction. There will definitely be a separate video about that, because it's actually really essential. When we play music, it always has a direction. Where is your music going? Ask yourself this question. Tip number 5, agogics. If you haven't heard this word before, you can loosely translate it as tempo changes. Yeah. Music is not static. There is music that comes across as static. Yeah. Maybe, in a way, you could count minimal music or newer forms of music among those. There are also passages where that's explicitly intended. But very often, there are also freedoms that the performer has. And especially in music from the early 20th century, in Impressionist music, in Romantic music. Yeah, when I think of composers like Brahms, Schumann, Wagner, but also in France, Ravel, and so on, these great foreigners of film music as well. Or if you think of John Williams, Hans Zimmer, or others today, it's unimaginable for this music to be played without agogics, right? So, agogics, can you imagine telling a story and it has a dramatic arc? And you support this arc not just with volume, but also with tempo. Yeah, so when things get a bit more intense, you can also pick up the tempo, right? And when it calms down again, you can slow down the tempo a bit. You already know this very basic agogic. That's the ritardando, which is often written at the end of a piece. But you can definitely incorporate these things into the music as well, during the piece. Of course, that requires a certain feel, and you develop that feel by listening to music, right? Here's a really important tip on the side. The music you're currently playing, if you want to make progress with it, I think it's essential that you listen to exactly that kind of music played by people you like who really master that music. It doesn't matter whether you're listening to saxophonists, other instrumentalists, singers, or whatever, as long as you have something you can use as a reference. That's really, really important. All right, that's it. To quickly sum up these 5 techniques again. Soft attacks, vibrato, letting notes fade out, dynamic differences, and agogics. If you keep that in mind, you can be sure that at your next solo, everyone will be absolutely melted. If you liked the video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and do that now. I recently released an online course about practicing saxophone with a metronome. You'll find the link to it down below in the description. Feel free to check it out if you're interested. There will be more online courses coming soon. If you want to stay informed about that and everything else I'm up to, just subscribe to my newsletter and join the 69 saxophone enthusiasts who already have. You'll find the link below this video. I wish you a wonderful week, and I'm excited to see you make progress on your saxophone. See you soon. Bye.